Yeah, how's it going, everybody? I decided to come back from about 3 months of silence. Um, yeah, just a few things happened, but regardless, I'm back. I've been checking out all the reactions to this song by this guy. I don't know him. His name is Skyebrows. I'm pretty sure you guys probably would have seen the song already, but I decided to do a reaction to it as well. Yeah, it seems to be blowing up quite a bit. Also, I noticed, which is quite a sad thing for South Africa, it seems like it's quite a freaking epidemic here. It's just sad that just the people in South Africa that are based and do kind of know what's going on, they just seem to refuse or are incapable of just reacting to current stuff in the world, especially when it comes to these kind of things. We tend to be so insular in South Africa. We tend to be so cautious. We tend to be so disciplined approaching controversial topics. I just did a search on YouTube as well about the song, just to see if anybody from South Africa has reacted to it, and there is exactly nothing. And I think to a degree this is why the world kind of leaves South Africa behind, because we're completely so out of touch about what's going on in the world. And yeah, it just feels like, to me, it's like my bloody moral obligation to actually go ahead and talk about this, because it seems like nobody else is. So that being said, my little rant, let us get into this video. I've watched it too many times, but I will go ahead and play a little bit and react a little bit as we go. So yeah, like, I really like the art style that he's using as we go through the video. He sort of uses like different art styles, which is kind of like just based off all the memes and stuff. For anybody who doesn't know Amelia, I'm quite surprised that you don't. But yeah, she's basically from that propaganda game website that the UK released. I don't know when it was. It was earlier this year, maybe beginning of Jan. I don't know, but yeah, it's basically a propaganda game to see how much of a menace to society you are, and if you need to do re-education. Unfortunately, I'm one of them. Or fortunately, I don't know, it depends which way you want to look at it, but yeah. Anyway.
British not skittish, my jolly good chap. British not skittish and done with this crap. British not skittish with the noise.
Also like how he's used the goth approach to Amelia. I think that's exactly right. Because, goth came out of the whole idea of, counterculture almost, rebellion almost against the establishment. And also how he uses Amelia as almost like the protagonist, in terms of, wanting to get society right. And I like the medieval approach that he's brought in the video as well. It's very cool, like almost like the heroine. I like that.
From the nap to take here for your skull a good rap. Raise your pint, lads in the back street, pub below, flashing purple threads, dystopic window. The goal they created and couldn't control. Amelia girl was such an own goal. Fish and chips on the lips, they were cracking their whips. I say now, have you all seen these sad selling clips? Bloody night.
It's Asmund Gold. You see two tier Kia there, messing up the UK.
1984 on the floor, sad propaganda that's looking so poor. They can't conceal your Amelia, the natural appeal. You mean straight to the top and so real, we can feel you. Amelia, you popped off the.
That's obviously that viral meme that was, I think, that was probably like the first clip I saw of Amelia, where she's He's lighting a cigarette off that burning image of Keir Starmer based.
The line between the darkest fear and what's yours and mine. We'll bring you Amelia, voice sounds like a fine, just inspiring your oblivious game design. Purple shadow recast.
He's also made her like crazy attractive as well. Hey, it's freaking the Sims are probably gonna go wild for all of this.
Coronated out, we know meant to be base, but you came out clean to the ministry of truth, like it under the night. The Lord says to speak what's in plain sight. Who keeps the island when the tide turns away? Amelia, I feel ya, lead the path wide. Four boys will run from a thunderclap. British, not skittish, and done with this crap. Tried to shut it all down, but she ran a fool lap. Why fools left in chorus, the memes on.
Also know like he's referenced like a lot of VTubers and stuff like that, like the waifus exactly there, like the I didn't even know that like there's a whole like online community of these like VTubers that are pretty based. I actually only find that out now, considering I've been watching this this music video. But yeah.
Look straight ahead now, stormtroopers don't dash you for rivers and soil and the damn cold air. Pull the plug quick when plans got out of hand. Guess they never heard about the Ostroys on what they tried to suppress the Ebu shadow ban.
Yeah, so people have been talking, yeah, like so the shadow band is in reference to you've got Asmund Gold, you've got this guy, now I can't remember his name, is it Nux, I think, and that's Tim Pool, and that's Charlie, what's his name? I don't know, I can't remember his actual name.
Like Bob's your uncle or press the homeland, but echoes don't die once you know the name. And slamming the lid is just boosting the fame, not hating her eyes, just stop and refrain. This green old eye won't be conquered again. Locked by the sea.
And there's obviously references once again to the Crusades, and I think it's completely fitting considering what's happening with Islam. And like if you knew the church history about the Crusades and you knew what the Crusades stood for, I mean, yeah, the comparison is 100% apt.
The speech isn't free, this sea, you want these doors of reality. Protect your old grand, let the Shire be. Shut the Shire down, fuck the beat.
You'll also notice here, like I've seen a few of these reactions, but you'll notice like in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf always had kind of the kids around him because of all the fireworks and stuff, like specifically in the Fellowship in the Ring, the first one. And it's interesting that he's sort of, you know, the wizard, and he's trying to get all the kids around him and, you know, have a good time with all the kids and stuff like that. And it's this idea of, you know, the good is supposed to protect the children. Yet it's interesting that governments and stuff, they're completely attempting to re-educate, manipulate children to fit their political agendas. And I just think it's so damn sad. And then you couple that with all the Islamists and all the crazy stuff that's happening with the grooming gangs. It's a sad state of affairs.
Amelia, a pearl in the wire, the red flag who fan the flames of the fire, the ones who remember the private dawn, the footy on Saturdays and the long gone, fishnet defiance, your unbound stare, you're more than a warning, you're already there. Amelia, we feel you tonight.
So that guy, so yeah, so
Amelia, we feel you tonight.
This guy's actually the guy that made the song Skyebrows. I think that's just hilarious. He's got a picture of Amelia there. That's great. That's Douglas Murray. Yeah, so these are all the people that sort of, they're apparently the actual representations of all the people that are, you know, do like these VTubing, live streaming, game reaction kind of things. There's Wally. Not many people have pointed that out, just in case you don't know. Where's Wally? Maybe I'm giving my age away now, but whatever. There's Asmund Gold, Donald Trump with the eyes, Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage, don't know that guy. Shot with the Simpsons. Yeah. And that's exactly it. That's exactly what they've done. You know, they've weaponized the charity of the West, and they've spun it around and made it a political agenda. And if your charity doesn't meet their expectations of what they think charity should be, then you're labeled, of course, as a bigot and an Islamophobe and all of these typical leftist tropes that they use. And, you know, they take for granted the charity, and once again, they just weaponize it. And you're deemed as the bad person if you're not being charitable, that people who are hostile against you and your society, because they clearly don't share the same charity that we have. And in a sense, if you had to break it down, charity is, in the grand scheme of things, a reciprocal approach to life. There should be a balance between charity and, I suppose, in the Christian mindset, you know, charity, being overly charitable could lead you to becoming a doormat. It could lead you to become sort of soft and overly charitable, and therefore what happens? People just walk over you. There's a balance between, as he says, charity and clarity, and it's 100% right. Also like this reference to, you know, like monarchy. I like that approach. You know, it's almost like speaking like Amelia is a monarch who's actually making decisions, cares about the country, as opposed to that clown Charles, where he's basically just let all these migrants come in. And then you've got Tutia Kia, who's just pushing all these agendas, basically destroying the heritage of England, the United Kingdom, for the sake of multiculturalism, which, if you check it out and you do history, it's never, ever worked. And I'm from South Africa, I know.
Now there's a million Amelias. Now there's a million Amelias. Goals appeal was revealed, yeah. I feel ya. This goal keeps it real, yeah.
Nobody bought that out there as well. I'll reference this real quick. So that this goal keeps it real, yeah. Should be cool. But here, this is kind of, that's a bald eagle, right? That sort of, that speaks to me of the allyship, the alliance with the base people in the UK that have got their eyes open, and the base people in America that have got their eyes open. And that's obviously a reference to the Beatles. Pretty sure most of you should know that. Tutia Kia and his crazy heads blowing up. And I love the fact that he brought in the Christian lens with this. Like he's almost saying Christianity is on the side of the base, which 100% it is. Unfortunately, institutionalized mainstream Christianity has been so infected with liberalism, I would argue, longer than any government institution and any business organization. I would probably say that liberalism, this secular humanism, has infected the church, unfortunately, really since the 50s. That's why you see so many Christians these days so quick to sit on the fence, so quick to not want to offend, so quick to, for the sake of love and peace and tolerance and all these misapplied, misdefined definitions, they kind of just become, in a sense, just fakeless fucks, really. Yep. And yeah, unfortunately, that is, they're attempting to rewrite history. But all of these things, the abolishment of slavery, white Western people, Magna Carta, white Western people, championed for universal declaration of human rights, once again, white Western people. And really, this speaks bigger. Once again, all of this came down to, this is actually fundamentally not necessarily a UK thing, but more a Christian thing. All of these morals, all of these things, it's Christian first, and then it just so happens to be English. But this is all Christian stuff. Inventors, innovation, creativity. I really like this fight scene as well. This is almost like it's kind of the fact that it's blue. I suppose in the American context, I guess, that's almost like the liberals. And I know it's not necessarily red. Amelia is not necessarily red, but if she were red, it would make even more sense in terms of like the conservative aspects of it and how you've got both of them battling. And yeah, that is pretty much sums up by what's happening in society right now. And then you've got the overclocked RAM. People are saying that that's JD Vance. He's quite fat. But yeah, so that is the video. I think it is freaking awesome. I haven't really listened to a lot of his stuff. I think the genre, in terms of the EDM kind of vibe that he did, in terms of the music, is 100%. Yeah, and I like it. And yeah, once again, it's sad that sort of nobody from South Africa is reacting to these kind of things. And it's really so important because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people. I have to believe there's a whole bunch of people in South Africa that have got this kind of mindset. But I think because we've been under a communist slash socialism regime for so long, that sort of, it's beaten the fight out of us almost, I think. And, the people that are based, the people that do have their heads on straight in South Africa, just from what I've seen, it's like all the politicians and stuff. I'm definitely not talking about the DA or anything like that, because they've been poured and paid for. But the people that do understand what's going on and that do have a voice, even the prominent ones, they're so weak, and they hide behind being disciplined, and they hide behind cautiousness, and they don't want to say something that's going to trigger people's emotions and, get backlash or something like that. Unfortunately, it's the culture that we live in now. We've allowed it to become so bad for so long that, it's inevitable that you're going to upset somebody. I mean, look at that behind me. That's probably going to trigger a whole lot of people there. And you know what? If you understood the history, and if you were using your brain, your logic and your reason and your objectivity instead of your feelings and emotions, you would understand that, yeah, these kind of things are important. Your society, your civilization, what you stand for is important. And you can't just let it slip just for the sake of, multiculturalism. We have to push these agendas because white people have done such terrible things in the past. It's time for reparations. Newsflash, everybody's been a slave. Every society, every civilization, everybody's been a slave at one point or another in history, and it's just It's ridiculous. I mean, if you look at the population of of white people when it comes to the global population, we're sitting at like 7-8%. So should white people go extinct for the sake of your guilt, for the sake of your perceived virtue signaling that you want to do? No. I think too many people are saying too many things that they don't understand, and they haven't really thought about the ramifications of what they're saying. And I think it's just it's silly and ridiculous and childish and all of that stuff. But yeah, so that's basically my take. Check out the video, A Million Amelias. I think it is fantastic. And we will see you on the next one.